Hey everybody, welcome to Cage My IQ. As always, I'm your debate. Today I will be joined by the current UFC veteran Rani Yahya. How's it going, Rani?
Going good, going good, going
As
good.
everybody knows, he was supposed to fight a couple weeks ago on UFC Fight Night, but things, of course, happen, and I'll get to that in a second. But I just want to start out everything with you. How did you get started with MMA, and how has life grown up for you?
Well, I was a jiu-jitsu competitor. You know, at the time was NHB, was not even MMA. And I wanted to be a jiu-jitsu representative in NHB. Fighting UFC, maybe fighting Pride. That was a dream for me. And really young, when I was 16, 17, I started to do a few closed door fights, amateur fights. I mean, no weight, no glove, no time limit. And I got into my debut, my MMA debut was in 2002. I was 18 years old. And that was my first fight. I fought a guy like 30 pounds over me. Was a no time limit fight, and I finished him in the like over a minute. And then I just kept going, man. I started in a different era, almost 20 years ago, and the sport changed so much, bro. Changed so much.
Now I know it says that you've trained judo, Muay Thai, and a little bit of jiu-jitsu. What was your favorite getting started with? And then what made you try all the different styles?
Yeah, actually, jiu-jitsu what I train most. Jiu-jitsu where I became a black belt, where I had most of my competition career. Jiu-jitsu was the main thing for me, and yeah, and but I always trained like a different martial arts because I knew that eventually I wanted to be in the MMA business. I started to do some boxing. I started to do some Muay Thai earlier. I trained judo to help me in jiu-jitsu competitions. And I was always a sport kid, and I always enjoy martial arts. I enjoy Bruce Lee, Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. That movie Bloodsport, Kickboxer from Van Damme. Those movies were my favorite movies. And I identified myself with jiu-jitsu very much because I could finally find something where I was doing good at it. I was becoming a champion at the local tournaments here first, and I started to increase my confidence and became a competitor. So and competition became basically my way of life since I was very young.
Now I know back in 2007, I believe you won gold in the ADCC. It was a submission grappling tournament. How was that
Correct.
like? How was that like to win gold, and how was the experience?
Well, it was the biggest achievement for me at the time, because that tournament, the ADCC, is the submission World Cup, the grappling World Cup, like every style of grappling combined, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, no-gi jiu-jitsu, judo, they are mixed, people from all over the world, all five continents, Europe, America, Asia, all South America, they all got trials, and the winners go there. The winners of the trial go compete to each other. So it's like an Olympic. It's like a World Cup. And I always watched that tournament. I always wanted to be in it. It was a dream for me just to be in it. In 2003, I won the trials in Brazil and I competed. It was a big thing for me. But when I went to the main tournament, uh, I got beat up. My opponent, had a huge advantage over me. Next time I competed in the big tournament, the big ADCC, I took second place 2 years later. And then finally, '07, I won the tournament. I beat the first match, the African trials champ. I finished him like in 30 seconds. Then I faced the Brazilian trials champ at the time, Bruno Frazato, who is also a no-gi world champion, and I beat him by submission. Then I faced Barry Yoshida in the semi-final match. Barry was finalist at DCC like 2 or 3 times before. He also a no-gi world champion, and I beat him by points. In the final match, I faced Leo Vieira,
Yeah.
was the biggest name in the tournament. He was the champion in 2003, 2005 in the ADCC or Jiu Jitsu World Champion, the very big name. And I ended up by submission, ended up finishing him with a rear naked choke and became the champion there.
Now, were you already training MMA at the time? Were you trying to make it big during that time, or was that something that was like the start of it, and then you got recognized from there on after that tournament?
I had a pretty huge recognition after that tournament. People started look at me with different eyes. Back then, almost 15 years ago, like your background used to count more
Yeah.
when you make the transition for fighting. Let's suppose you had a guy who was an Olympic judo champion, for example. He would, if he would make the transition to mixed martial arts, he could fight in Pride, K1, or even the UFC. The fact that he was an Olympic champion, a world champion in judo or boxing or whatever, he would carry that uh, with his name, and he would be a big highlight for the show. Now it's different. Now, if you win an ADCC tournament, a Jiu-Jitsu world champion, a wrestling competition, a big wrestling competition, you carry that with your name, but once you make your debut in MMA, that doesn't mean a thing. Doesn't mean a thing, because right now the level is so competitive. Like, it doesn't matter what you have as a background. Once you go to decide to go to MMA, your record is zero. But back then was right after that, I signed with Zuffa, the company who owns the UFC. I signed to fight in the WC like a month later, bro. I
Yeah.
won that. Yeah. And answering your question, yeah, I was already competing MMA. I already had an international career. When I earned my jiu-jitsu black belt, I was about 19 years old. And then I started to compete everything, gi, no gi, and started to do MMA. I was making like a transition from gi to no gi to adapt my jiu-jitsu style to MMA. So, now it is another thing that is different from nowadays. Nowadays, I see many jiu-jitsu guys, like, they have their jiu-jitsu career, they do their jiu-jitsu career, and decide, okay, now I'm going to stop my jiu-jitsu competition career and going to be focused only MMA. But back then, I mix it up a lot. People used to mix it up and to kind of make this transition eventually.
Yeah, I know back in the day, you really only needed to have one like thing to train with. Nowadays, everybody's coming in with two or three backgrounds of training, whether it's judo, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling. There's so much now to choose from, but now you got to be like a dual threat now, because that's how guys are coming in, and they're coming in young. It's like back then you only had to be like 30. You would reach the UFC at 30. Now you got guys coming in at 20, 21, 22. And just like I said,
Yeah.
they're coming in as like a dual threat. You look at a guy like Cyril Gahn that came in. He only has
Yeah.
10 fights. He only has 10 fights, but he knows 4 different backgrounds, and he's shown why he's that good. But to transition from you talking about WEC, how does it feel to be one of the last guys left from that company still in the UFC now?
Craziness, bro. Craziness. That's all I can say, man. It's like it's been a wild, bro. Wild, like being this sport for such a long time, been doing these camps for such a long time, and all these weight cuts. But let me tell you, man, is that makes me a better person. Every time I step on the cage, I get out of there more calm. I'm very calm after I get out of the cage. Every time I get out of the cage, I get out of there a better person. And yeah, man, it's like and makes me evolve, like makes me adapt. I'm always looking to learn. I'm always looking to get better. That's why I'm still in this sport,
Yeah.
because I feel that I'm still getting better every time.
Now I know from between being a WEC to UFC, you went from bantamweight to featherweight back to bantamweight. Was there a reason why you did that, or are you just trying to figure out which division suited you best?
Yeah, man. The thing was this. My body shape is for bantamweight,
Yeah.
but many times I felt that I didn't have to cut too much weight, because I don't really enjoy. Nobody enjoys this weight cut thing. So I tried both weight classes. Right now the featherweight weight class, man, these guys are huge, bro. These guys are huge. They're very tall. I still wanna do it, but uh, bantamweight for me fits better now.
Speaking of bantamweight, I wanted to ask you this question. I had a couple people that were like, ask them this because we wanted to know the truth about it. But is it true that there's a beef between you and Dominic Cruz?
No, not really a beef. We nowadays we meet and we hang out, we have fun, we talk every time we meet. The thing that happened is when we met, he was competing in a grappling tournament
Okay.
against a student of mine, and I was there right aside of the mat, and every time they were both getting out of the mats, getting out of the mats where they were competing, and I would like score them and put my hands like this, and one time they both got out of the mats, and then I put my hand like this, and Dominic say, "Hey, don't fucking touch me." Kind of called me a few names there. And I said, okay, man, we're in a fight. Right when he said that, I threw a head kick on him. After
Okay.
I threw this head kick on him, man, next thing I know, so many people, man, in like a 1 second got in between us and start to push both of us away from each other, like separating a fight.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, man, I'm gonna get out of here before the cops come here. And then I left, bro. That was the thing. And after that, like uh like 6 months after that, we met in training. We training in Saulo Ribeiro's gym. We did Jiu Jitsu together there. And we remember the fact he started to laugh. And then the beef there was no more beef, after that. We trained many times at the Alliance and his gym. We were both competing the WEC in the same weight class, but we were kind of helping each other. We kind of, man, became friends. I'm not gonna call friends, but we hang out together a few times. like many years later, like I met him in Rio, we hang out. I met him here in Brasilia, we hang out too. I mean, there was no more beef, you know. And recently, the guy in the post-fight press conference on my last fight, the last fight I fought in March, asked me that, and I decided to tell that because actually Dominic's he loves to tell that story to everybody, like
Yeah.
when we're together. And he say, "Look what this guy did to me," you know. And then we all start to laugh, you know. He kicked me in the head or start to tell the story, and he kind of lie a little bit of the about the story. He kind of I said, "Yeah, Dominic, okay, okay," you know. So and yeah, man, they decided to brought that up, you know, because they asked me about a fight between me and him. And I would love to fight him, man, but I doubt he's gonna do it. The dude barely fights. That's the truth. I don't believe he's gonna fight. My thing is to fight this Hokan guy now, you know.
Yeah, I know. I know. Cruz has been doing the commenting for UFC a lot, so I think he's probably set in stone with that. He might fight once a year, but I
Yeah.
doubt it's going to be on the schedule that you're trying to be right now. And then, speak of that Kang fight, as everybody knows, that fight got scrapped a couple weeks ago because of you catching COVID. How do you feel right now? And then, are you still looking to fight Kang once you're all better?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I already feel much better. I started to do some light training now. I had to quarantine right after I tested positive. Right now, I feel much better, and very soon, I believe the UFC gonna book this fight again.
Uh, have they given you any like time frame of when they're looking to do that, or are they just right now waiting until you're cleared to go?
No, right now they're making sure that I have enough time to recover. They're not pressing me or anything. I was actually the one who was pressing them because soon as they started to feel better, I said, "Hey UFC, I'm good to go." But I noticed that they want me to take a little time, you know, because UFC is a great show, man. They're a great business, so they want the fighters to take care of their health. They know that health
Yeah.
is very important.
Now, tell me a little bit about your training camp for this fight, and then how you felt at the end before everything got canceled. How was your schedule like? Like where were you training at for the fight, and then how you
I
feel about?
started to train in Brasilia, where I live. I have a team here, a jiu-jitsu team, jiu-jitsu competition team, where there are people who trains for MMA, fights MMA too. And then I finished my training camp at American Top Team. After that, I went to American Top Team. I have a partnership with American Top Team for a long time. It's been 4 years now, and I always go there to do my camps.
Is there anybody specific there that you work with, or like the same group of guys, or do you usually change it up depending on who you're fighting?
Bro, I train. Yeah, depends who I'm fighting, you know. But I always train with the guys there. I train with Kyoji Horiguchi, rising champion, former Bellator champion. Danny Sabatello, who's 11 and 0, 11 and 1 from Bellator. He beat some famous UFC guy, you know, like I forgot his name. Brad Jones, I think. Brad Jones. He beat Brad Jones. You know, he used to be a UFC fighter. Adriano Moraes, which is one FC champion, knockout Demetrius Johnson. I train a lot with Ricky Bandejas too, who former Bellator fighter too. Many guys, man, many high level guys, a lot of high level people there. You know,
How do you feel you match up against Kang?
I match up pretty well, bro. I match up pretty well. You know, uh, I was gonna beat him up. That's the truth. I will beat him up. You know, I will do that. We match up pretty well because I am good in a few positions where he's not good at all. You know, he gonna feel a different pressure. He likes to take the fights to the ground. but I'm much better than him in that area or any other area. I just feel that I'm a much better mixed martial artist than he is.
How much longer do you feel like you can continue to compete at a high level?
Well, bro, as long as I'm evolving, as long as I still have the passion, as long as I still winning, still making money, still increasing as an athlete, I'm in. I can't give you a time. I could predict maybe 2, 3 years, maybe. I've been in this sport for a long time, and I still feel that I'm getting better on many aspects. There are aspects that I don't worry about anymore. And there are other things that I still feel that I'm getting better. So it's been fun for me. The most important thing is to be fun. All this process is to be fun, and I'm still enjoying.
How is the weight cut for you at bantamweight? And then, do you see yourself staying there now? Is that your home for good until you retire, or could you see yourself moving up or down just to see how that is before you retire?
Yeah, we never know. I compete in different weight classes before. Like I compete many times in 145. I compete at 155. So we never know. I might take. It really depends. I want to fight at 145. A few people from the 145 division, featherweight.
Any
Uh,
name? Any names?
uh, I could say this. These guys who have the grappling style, because some people in interviews will ask me about these people. They ask me about Ryan Hall. They ask me about a few other guys, who is doing very good in the grappling department in this division. I forgot their names now, but that kid, I think that kid that is very young, which is in that division, Chase something. Guys like that, I would love to face guys like that.
Chase Hooper.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Now, one of the last questions I have for you is: do you have any cheat meals that you like to have? Of course. And then the other question is: what do you do outside of MMA that you like to do to keep your mind off of training? Any
Uh,
hobbies?
you said cheap meals.
Yeah.
What is cheap meals? What does that mean?
Like a cheat meal, like anything that you probably shouldn't have during training that you kind of sneak in there just because you do all that training to lose weight and whatnot and get into
Uh,
shape.
okay, okay. Yeah, bro. I like some pizza, man. I like some pizza. Uh, and I also like sushi too. I like sushi. Sushi actually is good for
Yeah.
recovery because it's that a lot of omega 3 on the fishes, and the ginger, the wasabi. This is all beneficial to heal the body. So I like that.
And then the other question that I asked was, do you have any hobbies that you have outside of MMA?
Yeah, bro. Like I'm a sports person. I like to hike. Where I live, there are a lot of waterfalls around the town. Here in the, I like to do some hikes, go to the waterfalls. I enjoy nature. I'm a water person, bro. I like to be in the water. There's the lake here. I like to hang out in the water, swim, or I like to hang out with my dogs, hang out with my son. Do 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 these kind of things. I like to travel, go to the ocean too, go to the beaches. You know, things like that.
The last question I have for you before I'll let you go, I know you got a busy schedule. with the
Thank
recovery
you.
right now. But what advice would you give somebody who's trying to make it as a pro in this business?
Yeah, bro, a lot of hard dedication, a lot of hard work, a lot of, you gotta be focused, if this is what you really want to do, fighting, being on the fighting business is something that you love, go for it, bro. Go for it. It won't be easy. Okay. One funny thing is that many people say to me, hey, I want to be a UFC fighter someday. I wanna fight, and I think, okay, why he's saying that? Is he saying because he likes training? Because people only see the glory, only see when you have the arm raised, winning, think that you make millions of dollars, but they don't see the sparring sessions, the weight cuts. They don't see like uh, uh, the fight actually, what is to be, what is the locker room before you go to the fight. They don't want to see that. So I think it's a very important thing, find out if this is really something that you want to do it. After that, if you decide that you want to do this, you're gonna know, bro, go for it. Be all in it. You gotta be all in it, all focus, mind, body. Don't expect an easy road, and keep going, bro. Keep going.
Everybody that I ask says the hard part is training. That the fight itself is probably the easiest part
The
of the whole
easiest
process.
part, bro. The easiest part. I was actually talking here. When you have a fight schedule, when you sign the bout agreement to go to a fight, you actually have three fights. You have three fights. You have your training camp is the first fight.
Yeah.
The training camp, you gotta evolve, you gotta get in shape, train your strategy, put in practice in training your strategy, and at the same time, be healthy, take care of your body, go over all the training, all the sparring, all the rolling sessions. That's the first fight. After you go through that fight, you have the last week and the day before, the couple of days before the fight, the weight cut, man, is that second fight, is the fight before the fight, bro. You go through the weight cut, and weight cuts, let me tell you, man, it hurts, bro. You gotta have your mind and your body all in it. You know, you is a moment of, is even, I would say that even a spiritual moment, man. You kind of clean yourself, clean your thoughts so much. You are so present. After that, you have after you make the weight, you have the process of weight recovery, which is part of the weight cut fight too. And then you finally go to the fight. Finally, you go to the third and the most symbolic fight. When you got to that point, that's easy. You're gonna do what
Yeah.
you train. You already been through the very worst part. But don't make me wrong, man. In fighting, you gotta be totally ready for the situation. Otherwise, you might go to the hospital, man. It happens to me a few times. Instead of to go home, you go to the hospital. You
Yeah.
still have the risk of, bro, like, one thing that I pray before I mentalize, before I get in the cage, and when I achieve, I'm always thankful. Is like when what happened in my last fight, for example. I get out of there. Even my opponent got out of there injuryless, completely healthy, bro. That's such a bless, man.
Yeah.
That's such a bless.
Yeah, I know usually when I get ready for like fight week and I usually do like predictions or whatnot, I'll make like a educated like guess, or I'll study tape, and I'll make a guess then. But then I'm like, okay, I got that, but I gotta watch weight cut, because you can tell how a fighter is after weight cut, if he had a hard weight cut or if he had an easy one, because that can kind of sway your decision about a fighter. Because if he has a hard weight cut, and it shows it, he might not be in full shape going into that fight, because he already had to put so much into, like you said, that second fight, which is cutting weight and then getting the right rate in, because he might come in all tired because he had to make sure he got weight to the T on what weigh-ins, and then he comes in, he might only be 70% after doing all that work.
Yeah, correct. Man, so this is the thing. This is very relevant to what you're saying, because uh, someone, you and me, we're gonna fight, okay? Let's suppose we're gonna fight, both of us. On paper, it can be one thing, but you're gonna have to go through these things that we talk about, the camp, the weight cut, and I'm gonna have to go through these things too. And these two fights, the training camp and the weight cut, they are very relevant
Yeah.
for the actual fight, So you gotta do it the right way. Experience helps a lot, man. Experience helps a lot, like when you know what to do, how to do, have good coaches to take care of you, to give you the right support. This is very important too. Be surrounded by good people. In my opinion, be surrounded by people who wasn't there. Okay, there are many coaches, they never fought before and they still very good coaches. I can name many of them. And also, when you have a coach that know what you're gonna go through, this is one thing that I find very comfortable, I would say, being an American Top Team, because every coach there, they fought a lot. They know what is to be in there, so they give you all the support that you need. You need support from good people, and good advisory, good instruction. You got to be surrounded by good people too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely so. But I would like to thank you so much for coming on here and having this interview with me. I know
Thank
you
you,
got to get
bro.
back. I know you got to get back to making sure you're in top shape so you can start training again, and then hopefully get
Yeah,
that fight with Kang back on the books
yeah.
in the next month or two. But I want to thank you for coming on again. If everybody wants to follow him on Instagram, what's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram is Rani Yahya MMA. You
So
just catch my name there, Rani Yahya MMA.
yeah, so you can search him on Instagram at Rani Yahya MMA. Follow him, keep an update on him. He'll be back in the octagon, more likely with a knockout win or submission win. I have a good feeling that you're going to pick up the victory, and then just follow
Thank.
him the
I
rest of his
will. I
career.
will.
And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your career.
Thank you, bro. Thank you very much.
And I hope you have a
Really
wonderful rest
appreciate
of
it.
your night. And once again, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, then.
Yeah, thank you very
Take
much.
care, bro. Take care.
Yep.
All right, guys. Take care.
Once again, that was Rani Yahya. Great for him to take time away from his schedule to have this interview with me. As always, this is Cage My IQ, the best place for MMA content. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at the handles to the left. You know it. We are now partnered with the Fighters First Network. Just hit the like button on this video and comment anything that you want to comment about this interview. And then, as always, we now have merch out. So all you got to do is go to fightersfirst.shop, scroll down to the Cage My IQ collection, click there, and check out our shirt that we have in 3 different styles. And then also the hoodie that we have with fall coming up in the next month or two. If you're the type of person that likes to wear hoodies, check out our hoodie right there. So all you got to do is support the podcast. And if you do buy one of our shirts or the hoodie, let us know on Twitter or Instagram, and then we'll give you a shout out on next week's show. But that'll wrap things up. I'm your host, D-Bake. That was Rani Yahya, UFC bantamweight contender that was just on the show. And I would like to thank him for a third time. But as always, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. Talk to you guys later.